This is the most luxurious train in Canada, starting here in Vancouver and riding for 2 days into the heart of the Canadian Rockies, ending in Banff, and following the Transcontinental route that connected this country over 125 years ago from Atlantic to Pacific, and from raging rivers to turquoise lakes, mile-high mountains and postcard-worthy canyons, countless small towns surrounded by rocky peaks, glaciers, no shortage of wildlife, and some of the most ambitious engineering feats ever accomplished. And I'll do it all while traveling in first class, tasting everything in sight, across nearly 800 kilometers of Canada's most spectacular scenery on board the Rocky Mountaineer's first passage to the west. And it all begins bright and early, at 6 a.m. to be exact, here at the Rocky Mountaineer Station on just the edge of downtown Vancouver, which actually started its life in 1954 as a Canadian National locomotive shop before being transformed into the passenger terminal you see here today, with its first train departing in 2005. And there's a super calm, almost ceremonial feeling inside, which I really like. And with hot coffee and tea waiting for you the moment you arrive. Water. Goodness. It's like the Disneyland train pre-boarding. Awesome. One of the goals is to get this video on that TV. Spread my passion of history and trains and Canadian knowledge with the world. But just after 7 a.m., the first bagpipes of the season would ring out throughout the station, meaning it was time to board. And our trip today is headlined by 2 GP40 diesel locomotives, which will carry us just shy of 1,000 kilometers east into Banff for tomorrow night. And so I'd head inside, into my seat, and with the staff putting a virgin mimosa in my hand pretty much the moment I sat down, which I will not complain about. And just like that, we'll push back and out of the Vancouver yards, heading east. All right, we are situated. This has been a train journey I've been looking forward to doing for such a long time. The original Transcontinental route. It's not accessible to the public unless you're on a private train. The Canadian Rockies, into Lake Louise, over the Continental Divide, the spiral tunnels, the Cisco Bridge crossing, into Banff. My goodness, I am so excited for the next 2 days. And as the Vancouver skyline would begin to fade, I would immediately head for the downstairs vestibule viewing deck, because the Rocky Mountaineer is one of the only trains in Canada that gives you full access to open air viewing. And it was great timing, because we'd approach our first of 4 crossings over the Fraser River today, including here on the New West Rail Bridge, which actually opened in 1904 and connected the Canadian Northern Railway into Vancouver to complete Canada's 3rd Transcontinental Railway in 1917. Now, we'll split east, but the bridge also splits south, which leads you all the way to Seattle on the Amtrak Cascades, which is an absolutely gorgeous train route. Now, this morning was pretty quiet and pretty cozy, with some of that Vancouver liquid sunshine coming down as we roll past the Canadian National Thornton Freight Yards and the Alex Fraser Bridge towering above us. Cute little small towns and plenty of farmland as we make our way past Mission and along the outskirts of Chilliwack, and here, cutting around the edges of Harrison Lake. But from the viewing deck, there is a vent from the kitchen only a few meters away from me, and I wish there's a way to get you to smell how good the scent of pancakes, eggs, and coffee was coming from the dining car next door. But let's talk about it. Because if you're in Silverleaf, meals are served at your seat. But with the Gold Leaf ticket that I have, meals are served downstairs with a full dining car. And breakfast starts with freshly baked croissants, served warm. And that is also in addition to the cranberry lemon loaf that the staff serve immediately out of Vancouver at your seat, which, I'll be honest, I will need the recipe for if anybody has it. Now, the mains range from breakfast skillets to buttermilk pancakes, scrambled eggs, chia pudding, eggs Benedict, and smoked salmon avocado toast, and this is what they all look like. Now, I went with the eggs Benedict, and it is an absolute must anytime I see it on the menu, but The smoked salmon avocado toast with crispy sourdough and soft-boiled eggs. This was hands down the best dish on the entire trip, an absolute sleeper pick. But I'm curious. I always love looking at train menus. What do you think looked the best, and what would you order? Let me know in the comments below. And as we leave the Fraser Valley behind, the landscapes really begin to tighten as we head towards the Fraser Canyon. Now, if we were heading west, we'd be retracing the exact route the early explorers fought through to reach the west coast. But going east, the scenery really escalates, and nowhere is that more evident than right here at Hell's Gates. Hell's Gates is a narrow choke point where the Fraser River surges through at speeds up to 30 kilometers an hour. And when explorer Simon Fraser passed through here in 1808, he wrote in his journal that this must in fact be the gates of hell, because there is no way any man could ever survive the rapids down below. And it's crazy to grasp just how harsh this environment must have been to conquer with no prior mapping or experience, and it really provides some perspective for what was to come as we continue our climb through the canyon. As I'm sitting here observing it from first class on a luxury train with snacks in hand. I'm telling you, these peanut butter pretzels and chocolate balls, they're pretty addicting. And not long after, the sun decided to come out, and it started getting really warm. And it was fantastic timing for a huge landmark, the Cisco Bridge crossing. This is the point in the Fraser Canyon where the Canadian Pacific and Canadian National Main lines switch sides of the canyon of the Fraser at the exact same time. The Canadian Pacific built through here in the 1880s on the south side of the canyon until crossing over here to the north side. But when the Canadian Northern Railway diverted their Transcontinental route from Winnipeg to Jasper, and then cutting south to reach Vancouver to try and secure more federal funding, they had no choice but to build on the north side of the canyon and then crossing over here to the south side. And it's so cool here in 2026 that you can still see both routes in action at the same time, with the orange bridge being CN track and the black bridge that we are coming off of being Canadian Pacific. And shortly after the bridge crossing, we would pass through the town of Lytton, a town that was tragically nearly wiped out completely by a massive wildfire in 2021. And we are going to see the aftermath of that wildfire coming up shortly. And while the wildfire damage is very easy to spot, the thought that kept coming back to me here was just how challenging it would have been to construct a second railway through here. I mean, the Canadian Northern would drive home and complete Canada's third transcontinental railway in 1917 right here, but building on the less favorable side of the canyon was so expensive that they would literally go bankrupt less than 2 years later and absorb into the new government-formed Canadian National Railways. But all that work is on full display with the scenic vistas and the sunlight lighting up the vibrant greenery all around, and my favorite, those beautiful snow-capped peaks looming over us. As we would begin to draw day one to a close, we were cutting around the shoreline of Kamloops Lake right here, and for me, this is what makes the trip so special. I have traveled this exact route so many times on Via Rail, and I've always hoped that the trains would be super late so that I could see the scenery because the train goes through it at night. But with the Rocky Mountaineer being a daylight-only train, this is my first time actually seeing it and seeing all of it, including this mountain goat, I think doing some train spotting from above. And cheers to that. We got a foamer.
Hey, foamy.
And that's the first foamer of the trip. Oh, never mind. We got two. Oh, and we got the fuzz. Day one had plenty of wildlife, so many beautiful wide open landscapes, and especially with that golden light hitting, which was quite the contrast from the freezing rain in Vancouver earlier this morning. As we cross over the Thompson River and into the Kamloops yard, and beginning our reversal into the station.
One and end. Day one.
We disembark and head to our hotel for the night, where I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Oh, don't forget about me.
I cannot believe it. You even gave me the boarding pass. I thought you...
I don't want to stay here.
Welcome back.
Oh, good morning. You almost left without me.
But if the train leaves without you, do not be unprepared like me, and you can prepare with a great carry-on suitcase from Level 8, today's video sponsor. Traveling gets a lot easier with a great carry-on, and Level 8's textured luggage is exactly that for me. It fits perfectly as a carry-on for every airline that I have flown with to date, and with smooth, quiet spinner wheels, it makes it a truly quiet companion. And most importantly, the polycarbonate hard shell makes it light and super durable, because believe me when I say I am very tough on things. And the telescope handle has 3 steps to set, and it is literally perfect for stacking my gym bag on top of, while staying perfectly balanced and perfectly stable, all while I'm in transit or in a rush. I mean, this carry-on is literally built for me. It also has a roomy, fully lined compartment that is perfect for divvying up your personal belongings however you want them, and with smooth zippers for easy access, and a TSA-approved combination lock to keep out any bad actors. And it comes with a 2-year warranty because Level 8 products are tested to ensure they meet the highest of standards, even for people that are tough on things like me. So if any problem occurs, they will take care of you. And my 20-inch Navy carry-on is the perfect carry-on for me. And if you want a high-quality, durable, scratch-resistant, and smooth-rolling piece of luggage, well, look no further. Just go to the first link in the video description to learn more about the best carry-on in the game. And thank you so much to Level 8 for sponsoring this video and making it possible. We'd roll over to Kamloops, passing by the Sandman Center, home of the Kamloops Blazers Western Hockey League team, and even the 1927 Canadian National Station here, which is actually now a steakhouse, and as well as the Kamloops Heritage Rail Yard. And I know there is a steam engine inside that shed that I'm very much looking forward to seeing run again one day. We'll pass by farm after farm, and no shortage of lakes as we kick off day 2. So I've been looking forward to this trip, this portion of the track, for a very long time, specifically this Kamloops to Banff portion. Oh, another freight train. Literally, this is the original Transcontinental route. This is the route that literally built Canada. William Cornelius Van Horn, his slogan, his famous saying was, if we can't export the scenery, we have to import the tourists. And then there was the birth of railway hotels and tourism throughout Canada, to the untouched beauty that, I mean, we're literally going through right now to be able to experience this from the luxury of the double-decker gold domes. Oh, and there was absolutely no shortage of freight. I mean, we must have passed by freight after freight after freight train, all of which were making a run west for the port of Vancouver and heading overseas. I just love this so much. It's part of the country I've never seen before, on a road I've never been before. That built the country. Hoping this music doesn't get me copyrighted, but goddamn, this is awesome. Now, about 2 hours in, we cross into the Monashee Mountain Ranges, but specifically here in Craigellachie. And Craigellachie is where the last spike was driven home in 1885, to complete Canada's first transcontinental railway and finally connecting the country from Atlantic to Pacific with a single steel ribbon. And in my opinion, the history books will say Canada was formed in 1867. It was right here in this moment when Canada truly became a country.
We got a folder! Folder!
And we were in for a treat because there was quite a bit of snow above us. But the snow is kind of odd because we are actually in one of the only inland rainforests in the world, and marked here by the Three Valley Lake, and more importantly, the Three Valley Lake Chateau. And I actually stayed here last summer, and it's a super cute, family-run, family-owned and operated hotel. And it may not seem like it today because it's pretty chilly, but kayaking on that lake in the middle of September is so relaxing, and it is an absolute must-do on any summer road trip. By midday, we cross the Columbia River and into the town of Revelstoke, a mountain town nestled on the western edge of the Selkirk mountain ranges, with a year-round population of around 8,000 people. Oh, and so this right here, this is La Baguette, and they are home to some fantastic pastries, great espresso, but more importantly, they have hands down the best affogato I've had anywhere in my life.
So we're coming up to the town of Revelstoke right away, and Revelstoke was literally one of my favorite spots in all of Canada. I was lucky enough to spend 7 days there, a full week in Revelstoke in the fall, very middle of September, from literally the best gondola in the entire country, the Revelstoke Gondola. The Revelstoke Mountain Resort is what it's called. It's phenomenal. They have the best smash burger, one of the best smash burgers in the country at the top of that resort. And then they also have the fantastic Revelstoke Railway Museum. They got a steam engine. I'm not going to foam it out too much, but it's pretty awesome. Just a really, really cute mountain town. It's definitely sport worth visiting. It does suck that the train doesn't stop there, but more reason to go visit. Oh, lunch.
And lunch did not disappoint. Warm focaccia with honey butter and a fantastic red pepper and tomato jam to start. Now, the mains ranged from beef strip loin to steelhead salmon, Dungeness crab ravioli, and pork tenderloin. And this is what all those look like. And I gotta say, the Dungeness crab ravioli was easily my favorite, and I would say an absolute sleeper pick. And of course, there was always room for dessert, and today they had a rich chocolate cake and a blueberry cheesecake to finish. Now that tunnel that we just came out of was the Connaught Tunnel, which I actually happened to grab a shot of us going into before lunch. And coming out of Revelstoke, we would head into the heart of the Rogers Pass here in Glacier, BC, which is also prone to the worst avalanches in the entire country. And it was actually the Rogers Pass avalanche of 1910 that was the worst in Canadian history, killing 58 of the 59 men working on duty that day, as well as launching a 90-ton steam locomotive off the tracks. And with such frequent avalanches, the Canadian Pacific would accept defeat and decide to build a 5-mile tunnel through the base of Mount Macdonald, which at the time was actually the longest tunnel in the country, and would open here in December of 1916. And almost immediately out of the tunnel, we creep up on the Stoney Creek Bridge. Now, the original bridge opened in 1885 with the opening of the railway, but the steel version that we're on today was completed in 1894 to accommodate the ever-increasing weight of the locomotives for the time. And the Stoney Creek Bridge was made famous by Nicholas Morant, the official photographer for the railway, and he used it in a bunch of his promotional photos to attract travelers west to come and experience it. And trust me, it didn't take much convincing to get me excited for it. And 130 years later, after the bridge's completion, it still stands as the second tallest railway bridge in the entire country, only behind the Lethbridge Viaduct.
That was great.
From here, we'll begin descending down the Rogers Pass and leaving the Selkirk mountain ranges behind, crossing over plenty of bridges, along cliff walls and waterfalls, in and out of multiple tunnels. Oh, and you bet, we definitely waited for a few freight trains to pass.
Freight after freight after freight.
And as the rocky peaks finally begin to come into frame and the valley starts to widen, we begin following the Kicking Horse River into our next small town of Golden, BC, population just under 4,000.
Oh, old train station right there. A little blue and red guy.
Out of town, the Kicking Horse River will run into the Kicking Horse River Canyon. And as our train snakes around the bends, I mean, look at the color of that water. I mean, that unmistakable turquoise color comes down directly from Wapta Lake on the BC side of the Continental Divide, about 100 kilometers away. But the color itself comes from glacial silt, which sits on top of the water and ultimately reflects back that turquoise color. This is such a beautiful route, and I don't know if I have the words to describe how much fun I'm having here. I mean, this is literally my Disneyland for trains. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time, and I mean, I love seeing the Transcontinental Highway high above us. I absolutely love watching every single curve our train takes, snaking around each corner, and as the mists begin to clear, as the soaring peaks begin to grow, and as the plunging valleys begin to get wider and wider, it is so magical. At this point, we're just pulling into Field, which is a town that sits just on the western edge of the Continental Divide. Now, Field was originally just a workers' camp for the Canadian Pacific to accommodate the additional need for locomotives on the Big Hill, or switching them out for the Selkirk locomotives that would take the consist west and over the Rogers Pass where we just came. And I actually found this out after the trip, but those same Selkirk locomotives were actually the biggest class of steam engine ever built in Canada. And those Selkirks were dubbed the King of the Rockies for their pulling power. And it is kind of sad, but the only remaining evidence of their existence here today is the water tower still standing above town.
So we are currently stopping the Field to wait for 2 freight trains, which is actually fantastic news because my camera battery is almost dead. There's so many fantastic shots today. Honestly feels like committing a crime. The fact that I know I'm going to have to delete some of them and some of them are not going to make the final cut for this video. Just such a gorgeous route. The Field is a really cool spot. It's a town with a population year-round of only 200 people and completely dominated by the towering presence of Mount Stephen looming over top of it. The town of Field is named after Cyrus Field, who was an oil tycoon, huge investor at the time of the railway's completion. And they promised to name the town after him, Field after Cyrus Field, on hopes that he would put some money into the town and invest and turn it into a metropolis. Well, he never gave them a single penny, and they were too lazy to change the name, so it still stands, Field, BC, named after Cyrus Field. And the current station, which hasn't seen a passenger train since 1990, is actually the former location of the Mount Stephen House Railway Hotel, and it was one of the original 5 railway hotels that the Canadian Pacific built along their main line to lure travelers west. Now, as cool as all that is, the best part and one of the highlights of the trip is in fact the spiral tunnels, and they're coming up in about 20 minutes.
Out of Field, we begin immediately climbing onto a steep grade. And you can really hear the diesel engines working here. And as much as today's grade is steep, it absolutely pales in comparison to the Big Hill. The Big Hill was the most difficult piece of railway engineering in the entire country. To complete the route as quickly as possible, blasting lengthy tunnels were rarely opted for, and instead, here specifically, a temporary line at a 4.5% grade was built over the Big Hill, which was double the legally allowed grade for the time. I mean, the first train to ever come down this pass ran away off the hill and would land in the Kicking Horse River below, killing the entire crew aboard. And pretty much any trains that exceeded 8 miles an hour here were pretty much a guaranteed accident. And so by 1906, the Canadian Pacific would hire Swiss engineers to blast 2 tunnels driven in 3/4 length circles that would then switch back over each other to help lengthen the track and cut the grade down in half to the legally required 2.2% for the time. And we were about to go through the first. The first is the lower tunnel, running 800 meters through the base of Mount Ogden before emerging and crossing over itself. And if this was a peak season train, I literally would have been traveling on top of other passengers further back on the consist, as you see here. Now, from this point, we'll cross over the Kicking Horse River and enter the upper tunnel, which spans 1 kilometer through the base of Cathedral Mountain. And after a few minutes of darkness, we would emerge out of Cathedral Mountain, making a straight line for the Continental Divide at over 5,300 feet of elevation, where we will level out just outside of Watt the Lake, and the grade will return to a flat 0%. I do think that it is a borderline crime that Parks Canada has never cut down the trees at the highway's spiral tunnel viewpoint for any Canadians to appreciate one of the most brilliant solutions in railway history. But luckily for you, I have some photos of back when you could. Now, despite the fact that I get to take this all in from a first-class luxury train, even with modern locomotives and air brakes, accidents have not been completely eliminated. And in February of 2019, a 112-car grain train heading down the tunnels derailed just outside of the upper tunnel and would then plunge into the Kicking Horse River below, taking the entire crew with it. It is a very dark and stark reminder of all the innovation and all the sacrifices that have gone in to me being able to take this in and experience it from a first-class luxury train, which I am so thankful for. Now from here, you'll notice the waterways reverse direction, and we are no longer following the Kicking Horse River, but we're following the Bow River, which now flows east. And actually our first of 2 stops in the day is coming up here on the eastern edge of the divide at Lake Louise. And Lake Louise is the lake renowned for its beautiful turquoise water in the peak of summer, and also the Chateau Lake Louise, which is a former Canadian Pacific Railway hotel from the 1880s that really helped to draw tourism here. And it is such a beautiful property, which some of our passengers are actually getting off of and are going to go experience later tonight. But the lake is only thawed from June until October. And the Lake Louise station has even been converted into a restaurant, which is now owned by the Rocky Mountaineer CEO himself, Tristan Armstrong, who I did get a chance to meet at the station prior to departing in Vancouver. And I'm telling you, this dude is like a modern day James Bond. He is a handsome son of a gun.
Next stop, Banff.
We'll leave the Lake Louise station behind and continue following the Bow River east as we take the sweeping bend around Morant's Curve, which is easily the most famous train spotting location in the entire country. Even people that don't know trains come here to train spot. It's pretty awesome. Oh, and of course, you can't forget Castle Mountain. I mean, there are literally so many beautiful spots around here. And even with the snowy overcast, I am just having the time of my life. I mean, this route is just such a nostalgic experience. I mean, back to a time when the world was just a much, much simpler place. And whether it is the beauty of the rushing rivers, or all the gorgeous snow-capped mountains surrounding us, or right here, spotting an elk from the train. And yes, it would have been nice if Mother Nature was a bit more cooperative on this first train of the season, but like a lot of things in life, you take the good with the bad, the snow with the shine, the hand you're dealt. On my own personal trip of a lifetime, from Vancouver to Banff, on the Rocky Mountaineers, first passage to the west.
That's it. That's the end. I always get emotionally attached to the trains that I ride, and I always go through a little bit of post-separation and anxiety getting off them. So having to get off and say goodbye is a little bit of a hard thing for me. Just love trains so much. On the first passage to the west, on the Transcontinental route that literally built the country that I love.
Peter?
Oh man, what a ride. My journey on the first passage to the west was an absolute bucket list trip of mine for so long. Going through the Southern Rockies, Banff to Vancouver has been literally at the top of my bucket list, and to finally be able to do it, it's kind of sad to me because I look so forward to doing these train trips, and then when they're done, it's like, what do I do now? I guess I got to find a new route or a new trip to obsess over. And I'd probably say the Rocky Mountaineer route, the Rainforest to Gold Rush from Vancouver Whistler through to Caribous and then Quesnel, Prince George into Jasper is probably the top of my bucket list right now. I would love to see that in the peak of the fall colors. My goodness, I would do some not so PG-13 things to get on that train. But anyway, the scenery was spectacular. Going through Hell's Gates, the Fraser Canyon, just looking at some of the terrain and how difficult it must have been to conquer for, I mean, first off, the original mappers who, while we're taking a luxury train in at 40, 50 kilometers an hour, they had to walk the entire route to go and map it, and to think of how treacherous that was with no prior knowledge and no prior guides. And then here I am in a luxurious train car sipping a hot coffee and a sparkling water with lime. Very privileged to be doing so. And then of course there's the Canadian Rockies. Sir John A. Macdonald, one of Canada's biggest patriots, said you have to go straight as possible across the country. We don't want the US to invade and take part of Canada, so if we build a railway as straight across the border as we possibly can, that will deter them, and it literally did. Without that, Canada doesn't exist. My parents don't meet. I'm not here standing out in the snow doing this video monologue for you. So thank you to the men that built it, because it's all because of that. And I know people are going to ask, when should you go? What's the best time? When's the best value? Well, realistically speaking, if you want to go in April, like you're seeing right now, you're going to get a smoking deal. You're going to get 25% off the primetime season of July and August, but you're rolling the dice. You might get weather like this. You might luck out. You might get perfectly clear blue skies and no snow at all. Who knows? But if you go in July and August, you'll get less of that. If you want to see the lakes thawed, go in June. June-ish is when all the lakes start thawing. If you love the fall colors, go very end of September. First week and a half of October, I think, is the best time of year. It all depends on what you value. But if you're coming to Canada and you're going to experience the Rocky Mountaineer, personally, I think the best way to do it is to go to Canada Rail Vacations. There's a link in the video description to enhance your train journey. Don't just go Vancouver to Banff or vice versa. Experience the best of Banff. Get the best of Yellowstone National Park, of Jasper National Park, the Icefields Parkway, and make the most of your time. If you're coming for the trip of a lifetime, you only have one chance to do it right. And I don't know anybody else who's more qualified to take you on that journey than them. And I guess ultimately you came for the trains, and if you're still watching, you stayed for the Travis. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.
Including next week on the Rocky Mountaineer sister train, the Canyon Spirit, running from Denver's historic Union Station through the Rocky Mountains and into the breathtaking red rocks of Moab, Utah. All of it in first class, and to experience the best of the mighty 5 national parks on this trip. So if you like luxury trains, steam trains, sleeper trains, railway hotels, or everything in between, hit the subscribe button, because this is the channel for you. I want to say thank you so much to Level 8 for sponsoring this video, and thank you to you for watching. And I cannot wait to see you in the next video.